She was my everything, my daughter, my best friend. And he took her from me.
The Albany County courtroom was silent, except for one sound: sobbing. Chyna Forney's mother stood at the podium, voice breaking as she described burying her 18-year-old daughter. Her sister couldn't finish her statement, the words choked by grief. Then, from the defense table, laughter. Alvin Foy, the man convicted of killing Chyna, wasn't just smirking, he was laughing out loud. While her family wept, he fidgeted in his chair, whispered to himself, turned around as if bored by their pain. Judge Roger McDonough issued a warning. Foy smirked harder. Another warning. The laughter continued louder, more deliberate, as if daring the court to stop him. This wasn't just disrespect. This was a young man mocking the family of the girl he killed, treating their devastation like a joke. How does someone become this cold? Subscribe now, because what led to this courtroom showdown will leave you speechless. Chyna Forney's graduation photos had just been taken. Cap, gown, that radiant smile her principal would later describe as infectious. 2 weeks. That's all that stood between the 18-year-old and her diploma from Albany Leadership Charter High School for Girls. She'd already been meeting with Principal Karina Cook about nursing programs, community colleges, universities, the best paths to becoming a traveling nurse. Chyna wanted to see the world while helping people. She was bubbly, focused, full of plans her mother couldn't wait to see unfold. May 3, 2021, started like any other Monday afternoon in Albany. Chyna was on Essex Street, near Rawson, around 2:50 p.m. Then, gunfire erupted, not isolated shots, but a barrage. Over 40 spent shell casings would later litter the pavement. Cars parked along the street were riddled with bullet holes. Witnesses scrambled for cover as the shooting tore through the quiet neighborhood in broad daylight. When police arrived, they found Chyna lying in the road. She'd been shot in the back. Paramedics rushed her to Albany Medical Center, but the damage was catastrophic. She died shortly after arrival. The investigators would later confirm what made this murder even more unbearable. Chyna wasn't the target. 2 gunmen had opened fire on someone else entirely, and a stray bullet found an innocent girl with her whole life ahead of her. By the next evening, Essex Street had transformed into a shrine. Hundreds of mourners gathered, releasing balloons and lanterns into the sky. Candles flickered beside her graduation photos. Stuffed animals piled high. Handwritten notes covered the pavement. Gone too soon. We love you, Chyna. A sign reading 2021 stood as a haunting reminder of the milestone she'd never reach. A GoFundMe campaign raised thousands within hours. The community's message was clear. Albany demanded justice. Detectives worked relentlessly, tracking down witnesses, analyzing ballistics, following every lead. Within days, 2 names surfaced: Chyna Manning and Alvin Foy. The arrests came swiftly, but what police discovered about the shooting would reveal just how senseless Chyna's death truly was. The case would take 2 years to reach trial, and when it finally did, the courtroom would become the stage for something nobody expected. 2 years after Chyna's murder, the trial finally began in April 2023. The prosecution's case was overwhelming. Ballistics evidence, witness testimony, surveillance footage, over 40 shell casings recovered from the scene. Alvin Foy and his co-defendant, Chyna Manning, had fired relentlessly at their intended target, and an innocent girl paid the price. The jury deliberated. On April 3, 2023, they returned with their verdict: guilty, second-degree murder, attempted murder, criminal possession of a weapon. The conviction carried a mandatory sentence of 25 years to life. Manning, who had already pleaded guilty months earlier, was serving 20 years to life. Now it was Foy's turn to face judgment. July 14, 2023. The sentencing hearing. This was the moment Chyna's family had waited over 2 years for the chance to look her killer in the eye and tell him what he'd destroyed. Her mother stepped to the podium first. Her voice cracked as she described the emptiness at every holiday, every birthday, every milestone Chyna would never reach. The graduation that never happened. The nursing career that died with her. The grandchildren she'd never meet. Tears streamed down her face. Chyna's sister followed. She spoke about the little girl who looked up to Chyna, who would grow up without her aunt. She described the nightmares, the therapy sessions, the way their family would never be whole again. Her voice broke entirely near the end. She couldn't finish. And from the defense table, Alvin Foy laughed. Not a nervous chuckle, not an uncomfortable reaction, a deliberate, audible laugh. He smirked as they wept. He fidgeted in his chair, turning around to look at spectators, whispering to himself as if their agony bored him. Judge Roger McDonough's patience snapped. "Mr. Foy, control yourself." The smirk widened. Foy continued his antics, shifting, laughing, showing zero remorse for the girl he killed or the family he shattered. "Mr. Foy, I'm warning you." Another laugh. Another smirk. The courtroom watched in disbelief as this convicted murderer treated the sentencing like entertainment. Final warning. When Judge McDonough called Foy to the rail to address the court before sentencing, Foy shouted that he was innocent.
6 other witnesses said I wasn't there. You have 2 females said I was there that was on a FaceTime call.
Sir, we're not trying the case. The case has been tried. The jury was convinced beyond a reasonable doubt. Sir, you can't talk at the same time as I talk because the stenographer is going to take down my words.
Okay.
If you want your words recorded, you can't try to talk over me. The jury's already decided that issue, sir. Anything else you want to say to the court, sir?
Yeah. You're a biased judge and I can't wait to appeal to see my case. I'm innocent.
Is that why you were laughing throughout the statements by the
She was laughing.
sister of... Is that why you were laughing, sir?
She was laughing at me. Think I'm innocent.
Anything else, sir?
Yes.
Go ahead, finish.
I'm innocent.
You've said that already.
I know.
Anything else?
So I come home. I'm innocent.
So regardless of whether you admit to brutally murdering her, you wouldn't sit at sentencing and laugh about it.
I didn't do nothing.
That's, sir, your time to speak has ended. It's now the court's time to speak. If you can't conduct yourself appropriately, we'll send you back into the jail and I'll send you without you here. Here's the bottom line, sir. Anyone with a shred of human decency would not sit in the courtroom and laugh at the sentencing. One more time, Mr. Mills, let your client know I'm about to send him back into the holding cells. Any individual with a shred of human decency would not laugh, regardless of whether he wanted to assert his innocence or not. He would not laugh and make a joke and slouch in the chair and act like this is a bus stop or a bodega or a park bench.
I was wrongfully convicted.
Take the defendant back into the courtroom. Put her back into the holding cells.
I ain't worried about it.
Pull his pants up while you're doing it, please. So the courtroom doesn't have to observe that. I'm going to sentence the defendant in his absence, because he obviously has shown that he cannot conduct himself appropriately.
The jury got it wrong, that he didn't do anything. As the judge began to speak, to deliver the sentence that would define the rest of Foy's life, Foy interrupted him, repeatedly, talking over the judge, refusing to stop, acting as if he controlled that courtroom. Judge McDonough had seen enough. "Get him out of my courtroom, now." Security officers grabbed Foy by the arms and physically escorted him out. The heavy courtroom doors slammed shut behind him. The room fell silent, the kind of silence that follows something unthinkable. And then, Judge McDonough did something extraordinary. He pronounced the sentence with the defendant absent. 25 years to life in state prison. Foy would be eligible for parole in 2048 when he'd be 45 years old, if he ever earned release at all. Chyna's family sat motionless, emotionally drained. Relief, mixed with exhaustion, mixed with grief, that would never fully heal. Justice had been served, but it couldn't bring their daughter back. Outside the courthouse, reporters asked if this was closure. The family's answer would reveal the truth about what justice really means when a life is stolen. Because in Albany, the community wasn't done honoring Chyna Forney, and the world wasn't done talking about the killer who laughed in court. Alvin Foy thought he could mock the system. He thought his laughter would somehow protect him from accountability, that his defiance would rewrite the narrative. But Judge McDonough's gavel fell anyway. 25 years to life. pronounced to an empty chair, because even physical presence couldn't give Foy power over that courtroom. His arrogance reveals something darker. A generation of young people so desensitized to violence that a murder becomes background noise, a sentencing becomes theater. How does an 18-year-old lose so much humanity that he laughs while a mother buries her daughter? This case isn't just about one senseless shooting. It's a mirror reflecting what happens when empathy dies long before bullets fly. But Albany refused to let Chyna's story end in that courtroom. The community commissioned a mural in her honor, her radiant smile painted larger than life on a wall near where she died. Local leaders pushed for street recognition. Scholarships were established in her name for aspiring nurses, the dream she never got to chase. Her principal still keeps Chyna's graduation photo in her office, a reminder of potential stolen too soon. Justice happened, the sentence was delivered. But true justice? That would mean Chyna walking across a stage in cap and gown. That would mean her mother planning a wedding instead of visiting a grave. Legal accountability is necessary, but it's not restoration. His laughter echoed briefly in that courtroom, but it could not drown out Chyna's name. A city remembers her. A judge recorded justice. Now, it's up to us to remember why empathy matters. Was this true justice? Drop your thoughts below, subscribe to stay informed, and help keep Chyna Forney's story alive.